Everyone loves a recipe for health and success, and for my ancestors, the way that they lived at country for many thousands of years, like any recipe, was really good for country. And we understand if we were to bake a cake, and we need the milk, the egg, the butter. If something is missing, it just doesn't taste quite right. For us as humans, we need our own forms of sustenance, spiritual and emotional wellness as people, fulfillment through working, and forms of pleasure and enjoyment. And if we don't, if we have one of those elements missing for us as a people, we're less actually for that. So it's the same for country. What we've seen as humans, in particular for Dja Dja Wurrung over the last 200 years, is the exclusion of us as a people in ecosystem function. And the ancestors, in terms of their lifeways and the tools that they brought to country, formed the species of plants and animals that were as an affinity to them as a people and their spiritual connection. So since colonisation, for the Dja Dja Wurrung, we've been excluded. And what we've seen internationally is certain catastrophes that have affected us as humans. Our cleverness as people, through advancements in technology to make our lives better and in a form other ways of wellness, what we're seeing today is that we're facing challenges that by our cleverness and our design requires us to rethink the way that we frame our involvement as part of the natural world and within society. So in 2022, the United Nations Biodiversity Conference that was held in China and in Canada come to the realisation, so the global science community, that we can no longer afford to be doing things without the integration and involvement of First Nations people into ecosystem function. So the use and the usefulness of forms of traditional owner ecological knowledge was for the first time, I think, for us as modern humans, completely realised where it was supported by science. Fortunately, if we take that constructive approach, and as First Nations people, we can actually blend this knowledge to be applied in modern contexts. I think we have an opportunity for us societally as humans to go forward, to be able to address some of those challenges as we go forward. But without the direct involvement of First Nations people, that potentially won't work. And so what we've seen, where historically First Nations people's knowledge has been misappropriated and or stolen, it hasn't actually had the effect around the theft of those knowledges to be useful to us as modern humans. What we're seeing here in Australia is a terrible representation of what country actually means to us as a people. And I use the example of the caste system and actually how it describes wilderness here in Australia. So wilderness is land that, together with its plant and animal communities, is in a state that has not been substantially modified by and is remote from the influences of European settlement, or is capable of being restored to such a state, is of sufficient size to make its maintenance in such a state feasible, and is capable of providing opportunities for solitude and self-reliant recreation. This description implies that the so-called natural landscapes are basically untouched by humans. It also equates the natural with pre-European settlement that is inaccurate and grossly misleading. So First Peoples manage the landscape actively and contribute effectively through their systems of using fire, respect to the spirit of water. So how do we incorporate traditional owner ecological knowledge into culture of country, and how does this help mitigate climate change? For the Dja Dja Wurrung, for us it was about providing strategic vision of what we do, and that is through our Dalkunya Dja, our country plan. For the last 10 years we've been implementing this country plan, and what we've seen is glimpses of successes, our leadership as First Nations people, and greater thought and influence and usefulness to us as a people. This has led us to, in the last year, to create a number of strategies for us as people that are about Dalkunya, the gardening of the environment, forest gardening, the Jandak We, the way that we bring spirit to country and culturally for fire, Gachin Dalkunya how do we give spirit and recognition, respect back to water and the importance we need around water, security and health, and of course for us as a people, the way the world is seen by us as being upside down regarding climate change. For forest gardening in particular, Dalkunya means to care for, to heal trees, to heal forests. The name forest gardening implies very sensibly that you need a careful tending of landscape, and this is about actually putting people back into landscape. For me earlier to mention this idea of recipe in the way that that's framed, is really about this idea of an ingredient, and if there is a missing ingredient or an inadequate substitute to the ingredients that are needed for that recipe, of course what we've seen, things just don't work. The other thing that effectively the Dja Dja Wurrung do in trying to bring our traditional ecological knowledge aside from the forest gardening is to utilise sensibly native plants that have been through ice ages here in this part of the world in Australia, and the buwach, the kangaroo grass, and through Jarkich, the dining room, which is one of our activities through our enterprises. The Dja Dja Wurrung has been extremely successful in the modern context of growing the kangaroo grass. And so through our effective ability of being able to now grow a kangaroo grass as a native plant, buwach, for us as a people, we believe that we're able to eat country to good health. I'd just like to end by sharing with you Dja Dja Wurrung's vision. Dja Dja Wurrung's vision is a sustainable, resilient and equitable future where past injustices of colonialism are addressed by empowering Dja Dja Wurrung people to implement our strategies. We will continue to lead in partnership with others, healing through our country plan, the Dalkunya Dja. Dja Dja Wurrung people are the essential ingredient that is needed in the landscape today. Along with Jara, the Dja Dja Wurrung strategies are an ingredient that's indispensable in the recipe for healing country and healing people. So through self-determination, justice, and this framework of biocultural knowledge, we believe that the world has the potential to heal itself and be a little bit better for us as we go on with our lives and for our future generations. Dalkaf Murapuk, we give good spirit, Duma, thank you, and Batak, take care.